If you were successful, somebody along the line gave you some help. There was a great teacher somewhere in your life. Somebody helped to create this unbelievable American system that we had that allowed you to thrive.
That allowed a bum
Somebody
like you to
invested
become
in roads
president.
and bridges. If you got a business, that you didn't build that.
No.
Somebody else made that happen.
The government cheese did it.
The internet didn't get invented on its own.
No.
Government research
The
created
government.
the internet.
Al Gore got it. Al Gore invented the internet. Yeah, that's in the government cheese. Between the government cheese and Al Gore's internet, what more do you need? We are living in strange times indeed. We have a president who is a naked Marxist who, as he cracks up on the road from his lie tour, his tour of lies, deceit, the real Obama starts to come out. The hidden Obama starts to be shown. The Obama that I've told you about for 3.5 years now is seen on a daily basis. Trickle up poverty, trickle down tyranny, naked Marxist. You didn't build your business. Somebody built the business for you. Now, let me tell you something. I'm 70 years old. I've been working since I'm 5 years old. Nobody built my life for me. I built my life. Now, it is true that I've had good teachers here and there. About 1 out of 10 were good. Maybe 1 out of 10 were good. Maybe along the way, 1 out of 1,000 people are decent in my life. But if it wasn't for my work ethic and my desire to succeed and my God-given brain and the fact of the matter that I refuse to quit, I wouldn't have anything. I'd have nothing. In fact, the opposite is true, Mr. Obama. If I had let the government have its way, I would have been destroyed at age 50 when they fired me because I was a white male. You heard me, Mr. Obama. If it was up to the government, I'd be lying on the roadside naked, my eyes being pecked out by vultures because of affirmative action. But I wouldn't let you and your minions destroy me, Mr. Obama. So you see, the opposite is true. Unfortunately, you, of course, had a silver spoon handed to you. Your hardworking mother, grandmother, and grandfather did everything for you. So far as we know, you never bagged groceries, did you? Did Obama ever bag groceries in Honolulu? Did he bag anything in Indonesia when he was a boy? Did he bag any halal food? Did they put him in a halal grocery there as a child? See, I went to work at 5, Mr. Obama, and I didn't get any government cheese, and no one gave me a job. I'm wondering, though, did he ever have a job? Did Obama ever shovel a driveway for a quarter? Did Obama ever deliver a newspaper? Did Obama ever work as a busboy in the Catskill Mountains? Did Obama ever work? Did he ever do anything? So naturally he thinks that everything is done by somebody else, because for him it's true. Everything was done by somebody else. That's how he became president. So when he says that you didn't do it on your own, he's reflecting his own view of the world, because he didn't do it on his own. Without Al Gore's internet, where would he be today? Without Al Gore, who invented the internet, how in the world could Obama have raised all of that money? You see what I'm saying? And without the government cheese, how could he have gotten where he is? So I ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the Savage Nation, do you finally agree with me that he's showing the world that he is a communist? Because only communists think this way. Now, by the way, he's not the only leader in the world who thinks this way. Fidel Castro has thought this way since since he was born. Chavez thinks this way. The communist Chinese think this way. The ex-Soviet Union thought this way. And now, of course, your Democrat Party thinks this way. So I will ask you, business owners who listen to the Savage Nation, did the government build your business? Did the government make you what you are? Is it the government that keeps you in business? Is it the government that protects your business? You and I both know what the truth is. You and I both know that the government harasses you at every turn. City, state, and local government makes your life as a business person almost impossible, certainly unprofitable. But why don't you call the show? Now, it is true that most of the people listening to the show are working people or business people. I would think that those who are illegal aliens don't listen to the show. Those on welfare don't listen to the show. Those natural-born leeches that Obama seems to be appealing to don't listen to the show. But if you do listen to the show, do you think that Obama is right when he says that you didn't build that business on your own? Tell your story. This is your opportunity. The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. Now play the other clip, clip 2, Beowulf. Let's hear the other one.
You know, there are a lot of wealthy, successful Americans who agree with me.
Hold it, of course. Yeah, the ones who stole money from government contracts or get inside information. Sure, they agree with you. You give them $1 billion, they give you back $10 million. Sure, they agree with you. But listen to how he goes on now.
You know, there are a lot of wealthy, successful Americans who agree with me.
Warren Buffett.
Because they want to give something back. They know they didn't. If you've been successful, you didn't get there on your own.
You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. I resent what you're saying. The government tried to destroy me at every step of the way. No, stop him. Stop him. This is my show, not his. We have the most lying, deceitful man in the history of the presidency standing up there saying that if I'm successful, I didn't get there on my own. A normal man would have broken 50 times from the pressure I'm under. Don't you tell that lie over and over again. I'm successful because of my own drive and my own abilities, Mr. Obama. You had nothing to do with it. In fact, you and your ilk try to stop me every step of the way. Now, if you're listening to the Savage Nation, I want you to call the show and tell the audience if the government built your business for you or if the opposite is true. Tell them what Jerry Brown does to your government every day of the week in California. Tell them what the city that you live in does to your business every day of the week. Tell them about the fraudulent low-life inspectors who come into your restaurant and try to break your restaurant because of a grease this, something there, a grease thing there. They try to kill you with the permits. If you're a contractor or if you're a homeowner who wants to add a fence to your house, tell them about the rat bureaucrats and how much money you have to spend to get permits to build a fence so they can run off with pensions that are broken every city in this country. The opposite is true. There's a war going on out there, and Obama's on the wrong side of history. I'll be right back.
Savage.
If you've been successful, you didn't get there on your own.
Okay, there it is. This is the core of Obama, the communist. If you've been successful, you didn't get there on your own. I have been telling you for 3.5 years he's a naked Marxist. This is communism. This is how communists think. This is how losers think, frankly. They hate the boss. They hate the owner. They assume they're as smart as you. But frankly, most of them, when the whistle blows at 5 o'clock, they just want to lay back. They don't want the worries that you have. They don't know anything about finance. They don't want to bother raising the money, taking the chances that you took. The essence of capitalism is to have an idea or to have a dream and work towards it. Borrow money if you have to, as I did. Work for next to nothing, as I did for years, to get where you are. Even in radio, I had to work for next to nothing in the beginning. The fact of the matter is, you invest in yourself and you believe in yourself. But no one did it for you. I believe Obama is reflecting the true Obama. He hates successful people. He hates the American way. He resents anyone who is successful. He still thinks he is a poor man. He still thinks he's an outsider. This is a very pathological statement, by the way. If you want me to get into the psychology of it, I believe that the pathology expressed by Obama, where he says if you've been successful, you didn't get there on your own. Somebody else made that happen. He's trying to say to you that he's jealous of you because he knows in his heart of hearts that he didn't get where he is on his own. He knows that he's a Manchurian candidate of sorts who was planted here by forces beyond our comprehension. And so he thinks everybody who's gotten anything has gotten there through someone else. Nothing could be further than the truth. And that's why I've invited you to call the Savage Nation. And this goes for virtually any field of endeavor, whether you're a ball player, talk show host. I don't care what you are. If you don't have the brains and the drive, you're not going to get where you are. No one put you there. Let's look at the Navy, the U.S. Navy. Look what this man is doing to the Navy with the crazy girls from Harvard. Take a look at what he's doing. Take a look at what this crazy man in the White House is doing to the military. Take a look at what the crazy man is doing, eliminating urinals on ships. The crazy man will next tell you that although it takes great skill to land an F-A-18 Hornet on a bobbing aircraft carrier in the middle of the sea, he's going to make certain that all people who want to fly those planes will fly them, and all of them will land them on the carrier deck. Now, you know that's physically impossible. Either you have the brains and the skill and the knowledge to learn how to fly a plane like that, and you land it on the deck, right? Well, you don't. Well, not according to Obama. Not according to Obama. If you're a highly skilled naval aviator, you didn't get there on your own. Somebody made you a naval aviator. It wasn't your guts and your brain and your patriotism that got you there as a naval aviator, or you're a sniper. You didn't get there on your own. He put you there, the government. It's some fat government bureaucrat from Poughkeepsie, New York, who gave you the ability to land that jet on the carrier. Do you follow the drift? Now, I don't understand how anybody who works for a living can't finally understand that I am a sage. I've told you, from trickle-up poverty to trickle-down tyranny. I've proven it. He's a communist. This rhetoric is that of communism. This is the rhetoric of Karl Marx. This is the rhetoric of someone who hates capitalism. This is the rhetoric of an anti-American. This is the rhetoric of an America hater. This is what dumb Mitt Romney should be talking about. This is what the dummy should be talking about. Well, he's really a nice man. And I think that nice man really ought to stop some of his staffers from saying those mean things about me and Ann. That's the end of the road here. I mean, either we get someone with guts running against them, or we're crushed, we're finished, it's over. It's time for someone to take Romney and stand them up and say, hey, dummy, you're the only chance we have. We put you in here in order to overturn this dictatorship. You know, get your act together. But no. He's still calling this communist, this America hater, this guy surrounded by 1,000 criminals. He's still calling him a nice man? All right, Jamie, line 8 from KSTE Sacramento. Go ahead, please.
I'm proud of doing the business on my own with the 2-year-old at home. It was difficult, but it has paid off in the long run, and we didn't have to get loans. We did it with money that we saved up.
But wait, now, you're not saying you did that on your own, are you? Obama would say someone did it for you.
Yeah, well, those
Did you get it? Did you build your business while eating government cheese and getting government? Didn't a bureaucrat from Sacramento come and show you how to start your business?
No.
You mean Jerry Brown didn't send one of the geniuses that he hires from one of the flop schools in the state to show you how to start a business? I can't believe that.
Nope.
No, they study business at the colleges in California in between the acts of pornography and sex. They must know how to start businesses. They come out, they want to run a business, they want to own a business, they want to tell you how to run your business, they want to permit you out of business, so they must know business. I mean, if Obama knows how to permit you out of business, he must know all about business. That's what I say. And so you have to take Mr. Obama seriously. Phone number is 1-800-449-8255. You comment on any of these topics if you wish. How do you feel about Obama saying somebody else made your business for you? You didn't do it on your own.
Savage.
So President Obama has exhibited himself as the naked Marxist I've been warning you about. Here's a man, you know, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves was a fable that I read as a youth. We don't have Alibaba and the 40 Thieves right now. We have Alibaba and the 400 Thieves running this country, who think that anyone who's successful in this country owes it to the bureaucracy that in fact stands in the way of our success at every turn. Finally, someone's responding to Alibaba. Business leaders hit back at Alibaba after he says the wealthy aren't responsible for their own success. Finally, business leaders have broken out of their shackles. They've broken free of the shackles put on them by Obama and Alibaba. And Obama said, if you've got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen. So finally, they're fighting back. Picture today speaking at a town hall rally in Cincinnati has been blasted by business leaders who say he has a lack of understanding of American entrepreneurs. Of course he does. To a Marxist, the bourgeoisie is a dirty word. That means middle class. To a Marxist, an entrepreneur is an evil person who needs to be arrested after his assets are stolen. Obama said in a speech in Virginia on Saturday that small business owners could not claim credit for their own success. He said governments, not individuals, create jobs. He knows nothing about business because he's never run one. He knows nothing about creating a product or a service that anyone actually needs because he has never created a product or a service that anybody needed. Obama is a front man for very powerful forces who put him where he is. Now, I'll give him credit. He's a very hard-working front man. He's working as hard as any candidate I've ever seen. In fact, he's shriveling away. I don't understand that part of it. I'm actually worried for the president's health. He looks skinnier than any healthy man should look like, to be honest with you. Something's wrong with the picture. But the fact of the matter is, there is no question in my mind that I'm not indebted to the government. The government has tried to destroy me every step of the way. There's not one thing the government ever did that gave me success. Not one thing. I had to get around everything the government created in order to get where I am personally. I'll say that unequivocally. The government did nothing for me. It stood in my way. In fact, when my turn came to take the job I worked for, they said white males need not apply. We are the government. You will have to put your life on hold. We need to give it to unqualified minorities, unqualified women, unqualified illegal aliens. That's right, sir. You're a white male. Too bad you're an immigrant son. Too bad the times have changed. Step aside. Let the really superior people take over. Yeah, so no, the opposite is true, but we're fighting for the survival of our country. We're fighting for the survival of the American way. We're fighting for the survival of literally our self-respect. Because if we let this guy get away with this naked Marxism, we're going to wind up with a society very much like that in Havana, Cuba, where there's nothing but broken cars from the 1950s, and people sit around collecting a welfare check and play backgammon in back alleys because they've got no opportunity. Houses that were once beautiful have fallen into disrepair in Cuba because nobody will invest in painting the house, in repairing the plumbing, and calling an electrical contractor because A, they don't have the capital to do it. B, they can't borrow the capital. C, nobody would buy the house because you're not allowed to buy the house at a profit. That's the exact model that your communist president is using for his mind, that backs up his mindset. I'm not going to tell you I am shocked by any of this. What I'm telling you is I'm shocked that anybody who works for a living would ever vote for this guy ever again. I don't understand how anybody, and I don't care what their race is, I don't care what their age is, how anybody who works for a paycheck could ever vote for this man is beyond me. What do you think? Are you offended by Obama's remarks, or do you think he's right? Gene in New York, welcome to the Savage Nation from WOR. Go ahead, please.
I'm very offended. My husband is a doctor, and he came from upstate New York. He came from the sticks, came from nothing, put himself through college, through a scholarship because he's smart, and he got there on his own. Ended up with student loans, put himself through medical school, which now he has $300,000 to pay back. Nobody's helping him pay that back. He's working.
Yes, but Obama would argue that the government, through their subsidies, built the medical school.
Right, exactly.
But that doesn't mean that anybody can make it through the medical school, does it?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
it's still up to the individual with the brains and the drive and the willingness to put in those years to become a doctor. See, it doesn't mean that just because the government helped put up the bricks and mortar that every moron in the street can become a doctor. Well, of course, that's not true, because under Obama, soon every moron will be able to be a doctor.
That's right.
All right, look, it's very dangerous what we have here. You know what our biggest problem is? It's not even Obama. It's the fact that he's a nice man. I know he didn't mean to say it. He's a nice man. This is not going to win, Mr. Romney. Mr. Romney, stop it. Mr. Romney, please stop it. Stand up and say what I am saying. You'll win by 30 points. Sacramento, California. Did the government help you, Darren?
Hey, Michael, how are you? Yeah, we have a live theater company up here, a professional. We don't take any money from anybody. We employ between 10 and 15 people, we have worked our butts off for 23 years. My dad works 6-7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and the government does nothing. It's the idea that the statement that Obama made is just absolutely beyond the pale, man. It's disgusting.
Well, you're going to vote for him, though, right?
Yeah, right. There's no.
You're going to tell everybody that you meet that Obama's right, that the government built your family business, and that without Big Brother, you couldn't do anything.
You made a statement a while back that I absolutely agree with, and I've felt this way for years, many years, and that is we succeed despite what the government does to us.
Bingo. That's right. You know, in Sacramento, you own a theater. How many city, state, and federal inspectors have come around to bother you or do come around to plague your theater? Numerous.
Well, interesting. Well, we have the local health, and that's not a huge deal. They don't give us too much of a hassle. We run a clean ship, but our theater actually burnt down at one point, and that turned into a major nightmare dealing with the bureaucrats. And then, of course, we had to do this and we had to do that, and then we ended up shrinking our house size, so we lost some seats because we had to make the aisles different.
The seats. The seats are a problem in a theater for a bureaucrat. In fact, you should have... See, to a bureaucrat, the ideal theater would have no seats. To a you have to understand how Obama thinks. You're a family who owns a theater, right? He would like to start from fresh, take out all the seats and replace the seats with nothing so that people can't stumble in there. See, that would be a safe theater. In fact, the theater shouldn't even have a stage because those lights could fall down and burn an actor, right?
Michael,
no, think about it. All those electrical wires, people use microphones, correct? They could get electrocuted. To a bureaucrat, you should have no microphones and no lights and no seats in the theater. That would be the ultimate Obama theater. It should be simply a place to go to collect a welfare check and get a 50-pound bin of cheese, government cheese. 1-800-4... I'm laughing at it because I don't know how anyone working... See, here's the problem. You know what's going on here. This is baby talk, right? We know what's going on. This is naked Marxism. He knows that 50% of America doesn't work, and he wants it to be something like 60%. He knows he doesn't want it higher than 60% bum because he still needs the 40% slaves to support the 60% Democrat voter. So he'll bring it right up to that breaking point where he has the plurality he will need to be president for the rest of the century. He will eliminate term limits. Mark my words, if this dictator is not defeated in November, this dictator with the stroke of a pen will eliminate term limits, and the Republicans will do very little to stop him. The Supreme Court he already owns. He's proven he owns Roberts. Proves that they blackmailed Roberts into submission. Nobody knows what pictures they have on Roberts, if that's the explanation, because no other explanation makes sense. Roberts was illogical in what he said. And so I tell you, if you still vote for this man, you prove one of two things. One, you are collecting a government subsidy in some way. Two, you are collecting a government contract in some way. Three, you are a government worker, or you live with someone who is a government worker. Four, you are totally bonkers. You don't know what you're doing. You haven't any idea what's going on. That's it. There's no other explanation. Nobody should vote for this man who works for a living. Nobody. New York, Lisanne, welcome to the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Mike. I have a small business in Connecticut, which you know is the Liberalism is a Mental Disorder headquarters of the Northeast. And I swear people actually rooted for my business to lose because they were so jealous because I have 4 children. I stayed up every night working hard. My husband works full-time. I mean, we busted in this family. And I just was flabbergasted. I honestly couldn't believe it when Obama said, if you have a successful business, it's not you. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke.
No, I understand. So how anyone could vote for him is the real issue. I don't have an answer for that. Joe, Pittsburgh, Don, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hey, what's going on? I'm 100% angry. I own a tattoo studio, and I've owned it for the last 25 years, and nobody paid for my dermatology classes or my pathogen training or my cross-contamination or my city-level license, my county license, my federal license, my state license. Didn't nobody do that for me. I did it for myself. Didn't nobody ever sit down and do a tattoo for me. I always did them for myself. And for Obama, a guy who I actually voted for, I feel robbed. I feel cheated. I feel like
Well, here's the thing to look forward to. If Obama, the dictator, is reelected, God forbid, they will eliminate the private tattoo parlor, and then the government will apply tattoos to all Americans. And you'll be divided according to race and according to income. They can tattoo the inside of your forearm and divide you according to race, religion, income level, but it will be done by a government tattoo artist. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and not only that, but it seems like every year there's more legislation that comes down, more hoops that we've got to jump through for OSHA or for the state. Well,
the government knows a lot about tattoos. They learned from their German counterparts in the 1930s all about tattooing. And I think that Big Sis and Department of Homeland Security probably has a dossier on the proper methods of government tattooing. So I would think that you should be looking for another profession. And by the way, on a serious note, if you listen to my show, you're a tattoo guy. I have no tattoos on my body. If you were to choose one tattoo for Michael Savage, what would it be of?
Probably the bullseye, because when you put your bullseye on somebody, it usually takes care of itself.
Oh, so you're actually my enemy.
No, I agree with most of what you say there. Sometimes I lean a little bit to the other way, but when I'm a small business owner and you're actually out there trying to make it easier for the small business owner to make it in today's society, and it seems like the government's
yes, but why would you suggest that I have a bullseye on my skin? What would that? I don't understand. What does that symbolize? But making me a target.
I'm saying if we were to pick a tattoo for you and make it your logo, I would make it a bullseye, a Michael Savage bullseye, because when you put your bullseye on somebody like you are on like this idiot in office.
Oh, what you're saying is when I make a statement, it's usually right on target. I see. We think so differently. I couldn't follow you, my friend. Yeah, well, look, if a small business owner like yourself, an artisan, a tattoo artist, is starting to have regrets about Obama, do you think this man can get reelected?
No, absolutely not. And listen, when people are in my tattoo chair and they're talking to me, and for some reason the subject turns to politics, negative, Obama, we're waiting for somebody else is all I hear. And that's at a tattoo studio. So that's going on in the halls of the city municipal building.
See, I think, Don, this is a very important call, because I truly believe if the election were honestly held today, and if we could weed out the millions of illegal aliens who Obama wants to vote for him, and the multiple voting in Boca Raton and New York, people from Brooklyn and Queens who vote 3 or 4 times. If we could eliminate the multiple votes and the illegals, I think he'd lose by 20 points, even with tepid Mitt Romney. I really do. People want anybody but Obama right now. They're sick of this guy. They know he's a fraud. They know he's a con man. And more than that, they know he's dangerous. Thanks for the call. I don't want to say any more, because then the bullseye will, you know what I mean? That's it. That's all I can say to you. I'll be back.
Savage.
If you've been successful, you didn't get there on your own. You didn't get there on your own. I'm always struck by people who think, well, it must be because I was just so smart. There are a lot of smart people out there. It must be because I worked harder than everybody else. Let me tell you something. There are a whole bunch of hard-working people out there.
So there's communism. That's Karl Marx, Obama. That's Hugo Chavez, Obama. That's Joseph Stalin, Obama. That's Pol Pot, Obama. This is a very dangerous man. This is a very dangerous man. I have studied dictatorships all of my adult life. You want me to get very serious now? And let me remind you of something that you may not know, because you just don't know it. Things don't start the way they end. They start with almost innocent remarks like this. Hitler did not start with Treblinka. Hitler did not start with Dachau. Hitler did not start with death camps. Hitler started with rather benign racial purity laws, and no one stopped him. The rhetoric of Hitler, by the way, was not written by Hitler. It was originally written by French anti-Semites in the century preceding Hitler. But it was benign at the time. The rhetoric that Obama is expressing is not his own rhetoric. This is what is deeply embedded in the man's brainstem. He has been inculcated with hatred for the American way from the cradle. He has been reinforced by his mother, God rest her soul, by his grandmother and grandfather were avowed Marxist. All of his mentoring was that of this rhetoric. This did not come out of the blue. This is in the man's DNA. This is in the man's DNA. It's anti-American, anti-capitalist, anti-business, anti-success rhetoric. It is the rhetoric of Karl Marx. It is the rhetoric of Fidel Castro. It is the rhetoric of Pol Pot. Pol Pot Most of you don't know who he was. Maybe you saw a movie 20 years ago called, I forget the name of it. It ended with a mountain of skulls in Cambodia. 3 million people were slaughtered by the Khmer Rouge. Who were the 3 million people? How did it happen? Pol Pot was a benign, a rather mild-mannered leader of Cambodia, a professor, as a matter of fact, a professor like Obama. And he went to Paris and he studied Marxism. He came back from Paris a flaming communist, and he instituted what he was taught in Paris in the universities. He instituted communism in his native Cambodia. He unleashed the uneducated 13 and 14-year-old gangs who tied red ribbons around their heads and called them the Khmer Rouge, red. They went out. They rampaged through the countryside, through the cities. They beat up anyone who was successful. They arrested anyone who was successful. They stole from anyone who was successful. They imprisoned and worked to death and tortured anyone who was successful. Anyone who had eyeglasses was considered an enemy of the state. Teachers, doctors, lawyers, engineers, police chiefs, architects. Everybody who worked hard for what they had was seen as an enemy of the communist state of Cambodia. You say, now, Savage, what does that have to do with that nice man in the White House with such a nice wife and such nice children? I'll let you figure out 2 and 2. It starts with rhetoric like this. It unleashes the genie in the bottle. It justifies any acts of betrayal, any acts of hatred, any acts of sabotage against the successful. It unleashes the genie of hate. Obama is the most hateful man who has ever plagued the White House. You'll notice I'm stepping up my rhetoric because nobody else will step up the rhetoric. They're playing catch-up. This man is the most dangerous, most divisive, most evil, I'll use the word evil, president in the history of America. Everything is at stake in November. Unfortunately, on the other side, we have Mr. Peepers, Mr. Milquetoast, Mr. Check Pants, Mr. Country Club, Mr. Nice Guy. I'll remind you of something else. Nice guys don't finish last, Mr. Romney. They don't finish at all.
7.